You're on mute, Dave.
Good catch. Good catch. Thank you, Sylph. All right. Welcome to the call, everybody. As you can tell, when you get tired, you make mistakes, and it's been a long couple of weeks. So I hope everybody is doing awesome. I am always praying for everybody out there, whether you're joining the call live or you're going to watch it later on tonight. We're going to do some updates. My name's David Cutler. I think by now most of you already should know me. I feel like you're all my family, and I appreciate your time of being with us and how you've been doing it. So I'm going to go through a couple of things today, guys, just to tell you where it's at. And again, if you're listening later on tonight, amen. Make sure you get the updates. We won't be on a long call. So my first big note here is to apologize for last week. Okay, so I had literally an hour prior to the conference call, I had an opportunity to go and meet with a promotional team that had a bunch of celebrities there and a bunch of different organizers, and they have invited me to go over. So I went over to their event last week, which I've shared with some of you on other calls about the NFL draft coming up and the fight coming up in Houston for the Mike Tyson, plus two other events as well. And I had a chance to go over to a live meeting last week. So, guys, I apologize for not making it last week. Sylvie scrambled around and got us covered, just so you know what's going on. So, first of all, once again, I apologize. Let's move on. I can't change it. Very positive things come out in the meeting. So I want to talk about Avazoo today, the top priorities. And I don't want anybody to get discouraged in some of my statements. I'm always the kind of guy that will tell you up front, so you're aware of it. Good, bad, or ugly. It's just the way I've been taught from my dad, just the way to do it. And at my age, I kind of do what's been working for me. So, number one, there are problems with Avazoo in some areas. Now, are they all fixable? 1000% all fixable. Are we fixing them right now? No, we're not. And the reason we're not is we have to look at this as a business. We have to look at it what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. So our top priority right now is to develop bot test and make live Ripple's app. So all of our tech guys and people that have worked for Avazoo are literally now we are working. And when I tell you 10 hours a day, that's a drop in the ocean. That's before we take lunch. Okay. We are working till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. We are testing, we are changing, we're modifying. And every time we do that, if we would tie it together with Avazoo, so where you would get your points and entries, we have to have an API. And we can't build the APIs until we get the games completed and tested. So we had to sit back and kind of look at the whiteboard and say, what comes first? If we open up Avazoo tomorrow, which is open, by the way, for ticket sales, and we had 3 or 4 ticket sales this week, went through the process, and we'll have them every week. It just happens naturally without even anybody advertising. People go and search around the world, and automatically they find us and they say, hey, for $20, $50, $100, I'm going to buy a ticket and see what happens. That happens on a regular basis, guys. Now, some of you are still promoting, and we appreciate that. However, we know there are some issues. Number one, we know the supporter link. We finally got that working last week, but we haven't pushed or promoted it. So if you open up the supporters link, you should see one item in there now where we got that fixed. That was because we went from one server to a different server, and it messed up all the different IP addresses and all the different connections. That one was on us. We should have had that fixed earlier. However, the complete commitment right now is to get the games up and going. And some of you might say, well, I'm not part of Ripple and I don't really care about Ripple. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You really need to, because we cannot advertise in Europe as we sit currently today. We also are now being told that we cannot advertise in Africa the way we sit today, because we don't have the necessary licenses to go on to the TV networks to advertise. So you must understand the madness of what we're doing, if that's such a thing as a madness. What we're doing is we're overcoming the challenges we have in business to allow us to get the word out around the world. And the option we've got is taking what was originally going to be in Avazoo app, which is all the different games you're seeing on Ripple, and then obviously plus the banners, plus this, plus that, all that stuff you see going over to Ripple is originally designed for Avazoo as it rolled out, as it started to get bigger. We had to halfway through what we were doing, we finally got the everything up and going, and all of a sudden we get this cease and halt letter coming saying, look, under the current advertisement, we can't advertise in Europe. Now, there's freedom of speech on the internet, and there is a lot of attorneys that would say, oh, you can just go and do what you want. But, when you go to put a posting on Facebook, and Facebook say you don't meet the requirements, then you have to provide us licensing. We have proved to Facebook we are legal, and we have a license, and they've allowed us to do it. However, just because you've got the approval doesn't mean to say we want to go and upset some of the countries and relationships that we've already been working with for many years. And we're not going to do that. It doesn't matter about any individual. It's about doing this thing to accomplish our goal, which is what we want to do. So we don't want to upset any countries. So the option was, how do we get to advertise? i.e. Ripple kicks off, starts to go, and then every fifth reel in Ripple, we would have the chance of eyeballs, meaning somebody's looking at a reel, and a percentage of them would say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and buy a ticket. So that was what happened. Now, fortunately, or whichever you want to call it, a blessing as I call it, we had the chance to go to an event which created us an opportunity to open up sporting games that has just taken off like nobody can even possibly believe. Now, a lot of people have come to me in the last 2 or 3 months, and of course have said to me, well, man, you seem like you're more excited about Avazoo, about Ripple than you are Avazoo. Well, I can't tell you I'm more excited. I can tell you that I'm very, very happy and excited that I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Avazoo was designed to go in and build massive schools, airports, water plants, all of the big stuff that is missing that governments can't do. It was never designed for an individual helping them. So where I'm really excited about Ripple is literally the end of the day, somebody can win a food basket. Man, oh man, does that make me feel good that I've accomplished something in the world that perhaps somebody else hasn't accomplished the way I've done it. So I absolutely love the concept with Ripple and the way we're doing it, the auction site and everything else. And in the meantime, it's accomplishing our goal of being able to advertise. What we didn't know, and when Paul and I sat and talked about this, what we didn't know at the time was how big would Ripple go before we'd have to start spending advertisement dollars. Remember, we're on a limited budget because our budget comes from ticket sales. So bottom line to the deal is, by doing Ripple and then going to this NFL event and then meeting some very superstars, and not just superstars in fandom what they've done. In other words, they're not just because they won the Super Bowl, they're a superstar because they see the vision of what we're trying to do. What's happened is, excuse me, it's developed into a monster, a real good monster. And excuse me for coughing. And bottom line to the deal is, we've now got all these different teams, and these teams are bringing along their non-profit foundations that need the support. But more important, what they're bringing along is their database of their fan base. So their fan bases are getting involved, which means that we don't have to spend advertisement dollars to get them to get involved in the different games that now create the exact same entity. But instead of putting out $2 or $3 or $4 million in advertising, we can do this all for free just because of what's happened. So guys, I just want you to understand a little bit about why Avazoo's are, and when I say on hold, I do not want you to think it's on hold. It is open for business every day. We still do customer service tickets. We still are doing certain things. We're in the middle of building some landing pages right now. But I just want you guys to understand that our focus is getting everything up and going, and at least 6 separate games in Ripple. Be ready to start with, and some of you, you're part of Ripple as well. You're going to find out this Saturday that we are hoping, if everything meets the requirements of what we need, we're hoping to have a draft mock draft next week with actual some players that are going to come on and hopefully be the mock draft. If that works next week, and we have no issues, we will definitely be ready to rock for the NFL draft. And the NFL draft could take us. I mean, that one event alone could make it for us that we never have to look back. It could just take it viral, and all of a sudden we got 1 million people. And once we got 1 million people, we're going to get the eyeballs we need to look at our Avazoo, and then we're going to get the ticket sales. And of course, when somebody understands the concepts of Avazoo, by sharing it, you get free entries, etc., etc. All of a sudden, Avazoo goes and sells all these tickets. So, guys, I just want you to know, sorry to take that long to get why you're not getting the results you want. However, the end result is 10 times bigger than what I could do just working on Avazoo. So as of right now, guys, the supporter link is working. At the moment, we're not going any further. The wheel has been up and down a few times, and we believe we've got everything ready to go. As soon as we know what we're going to do about the draft, we're going to turn the wheel on so people can get some points. It's okay getting points, but what we got to be cautious about, we got to be careful about here. And I don't know how to say this any other way apart from just tell you, we don't want one individual winning everything on the auction site. I'm sorry, I love you all, but we wouldn't want, and I'm just using a name, Peter, Tom, Graham, Sue, Peter, whatever, that had all the points, and they go to the auction site under this test, and they end up with everything. We don't want that for obvious reasons. We do want them people to get lots of things, but not under the test mode. We want to be make it kind of equally shared out. And the only way we know how to do that is make sure that all of our pioneers get enough points that they can all bid on different items. So if you're putting yourself in my position, it's like a chess game. Which play do you play next to get to the final result, to get checkmate? And it's not easy for anybody that's sitting there. I know you're all very talented and what you do in your own life and your own careers, but try to make this thing work out that it literally is a step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's definitely some headaches, okay? But anyway, we're close. So the wheel is ready to go for the next test. We may turn it on for a day or two. Thanks for all the people that reported. Always, Mr. McKenzie, whether you're on a call now or later or whatever, we always love you. Thank you. And you're so appreciate to have you part of our group. You're always one of the first to tell us what's going on, and you tell it in such a nice way. You explain it, and it's you're doing it to help Avazoo. So we thank you, and prayers and blessings out to you, Mr. John. So anyway, bottom line, guys, the payment gateway is up, operational. People can get the payments. We have now tested in multiple different countries on Avazoo. That is good. The APIs have already started to be built between Avazoo and Ripple. Each API, unfortunately, each game has to be a separate API. It's going to slow us down. So the only thing we got left before we can really kick things off is making sure you guys have got your shared documents. So Sylvie and I have been working on that. Actually, we've been working on it a lot today. So I'm going to quickly show you what's going to happen. We want to get this one on, and we're still waiting for Carol. Carol's been pretty sick, but we're still waiting for Carol to come back to us with all of the documents she's got for the marathon shares that we want to add to it. But I want to just show you guys what's going to happen so you guys know. And again, Sylvie's just been such a good blessing with Justin doing what he's got to do right now, and everything going on. Sylvie is just stepped up like you wouldn't believe, and she's actually most probably going to join me out in the Philippines here very shortly. So click. So when we go on here, so this is called dotted sign. So what's going to happen, as you can see, we've got documents that we put up here, and you're going to get an Sylvie, can you come on for a second? These are like completed ones right here, and then obviously drafts and things like that. So you're going to have this document that is going to go up for you, but it's filled. Sylvie, we're going to be able to fill in the name when we put it up first, right? So they're going to see that. Can you hear me?
I've just uploaded the file.
Is it under draft?
Yes, possibly it's under draft. I don't think it is this one. Maybe it's not appearing yet because I had to add the email addresses
Okay.
of
All right.
all
So
the
guys,
stuff.
let me explain. But Sylvie, we're gonna have it where the names are filled in on the document, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what's going to happen, guys? Sometime, I'm not going to promise it's going to happen today, but sometime over the next 48 to 72 hours, look out for an email. Sylvie will post in the CRC that it's now look out for your email. So we will post in the CRC. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to sign it through this document sign here. The file will open up and you put your electronic signature in it. We originally was going to send it to you and then you send it back to us, and it was going to get complicated because we needed it witnessed. This is going to make all the difference because this is going to be the witness of the document, and it's going to ask you to upload your certain driving license or whatever the government ID. So guys, we are working on that. I can tell you by Monday at the latest it will be already going, and we're hoping tomorrow that you guys are going to start getting these. Now if you see the wrong amount of shares, and I can tell you that I would, the only people that are going to come back and say it's the wrong amount of shares is them people that have been trying to take advantage since day one. And I'm sure we're going to get a couple of those that come back. But otherwise, the rest of you should be really, really happy with what we've done. And it's a real thank you that coming from me, not the company. So it's my shares I'm giving to you to say thank you. Okay. So the bottom line to deal is enjoy them, make them worthwhile. And as more ripples does, more players and more views, more ticket sales, the quicker you're going to get to them share valuations being worth exciting. So, guys, we're on that. We're on top of that. We're working with it, but we will tell you by the absolute latest this upcoming Monday, we'll have everybody's up there so you can do it. Now, if we are missing you from something from the marathon, we are still waiting on the official document that Carol completed. And unfortunately, we don't have it. None of us have it, only Carol. And we've reached out to her again today. Now, we got a pretty good way to get it. And the reason we know we can get it is we got the 24-hour marathon recorded. So if worst comes to worst, we're going to go back and watch the last presentation or the last part of it where we give out the awards, and we'll be able to get it on camera. So guys, we will get it accurate for the marathon. We're just waiting for the document. So guys, I don't have anything else. I am more than happy to sit here with you the whole hour and share anything you want to know. I will be more than happy to do that. But if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them. If not, I'm going to get back to work and carry on coding and carry on laying out and putting everything together. Like I say, the wheel is now where we think we're ready to go. The first spin off on the wheels is going to be actually for points to get you into the auction site. So when the pioneers go up, we don't have one individual that's going to have all these points. So once we do open the wheel, make sure if you're a Ripple member to get in and play, because even if you come in right dead last, you're still going to get some points, which we think is important. Also, the APIs are already in the process. They're not complete. We can't complete them until all the games are complete. And unfortunately, with my imagination and design, every time I look at the game, and my guys hate me for this, but it's like, well, what about if we do this and that'll make it more exciting? And what about if we do this? There's more live environment. And every time I say one of them statements, my team go, oh, here we go again. I'm sorry, guys. It's just the way I am. And then when it is right, I want to go back and re-look at it and revisit with it. We do know the websites. There are some issues on the iPhone. We do have 2 new Android developers. So you guys are, or an Android and ISO. Again, we can't let them loose until we've got everything done. So I know for those of you that are anxious about Avazoo, first of all, thank you guys. I appreciate you. Number 2, think about me. Put yourself in my spot. I've been doing this now for 20 years, right? And all I can tell you is I always look at a negative to the best of my ability as a positive. And every time we've been knocked down for something, God has redirected into a positive way, i.e., why we're not marketing right now. Well, we don't want any challenges. We don't want to get upset. We don't want to get closed down. Now, all of a sudden, we got this marketing deal through Ripple that is not going to cost us any money to advertise in Ripple. I mean, so it's a win-win situation, and we have no legal issues anywhere around the world. So it's kind of really cool that, look at the positive out of every negative. Same with the wheel spinning. It had the problems on it. If we'd have launched it, we would have been out giving away small accounts for Avazoo. Now we're going to be giving away points and actually some memberships and some other stuff on there. So guys, all these things that I change or we change, means, it's a big suck of air, and say, okay, we got to change that code over there to make sure this meets over here. So I've made a commitment to our guys. We're not going to do any more right now, just these first 7 different environments, games as you call them, we call them environments. Once we get them first 7 up and going, then we will go back to Avazoo, tie it all together, take it then to all of the APIs, make sure everything is working, then do the board spin, and off to the races we go. So you guys, so it's a little bit of a different call today, but I just wanted to share with you, especially after last week, we got a bunch of different people getting involved on our games. Guys, it's blowing my mind. I mean, I'm not calling people, they're calling us. It's just this person says to somebody, "Oh, did you hear about Ripple? And this is what they're doing with the game." And the next thing is I'm getting a phone call from a tennis professional player, or I'm getting a phone call from ping pong, of all things. We're working on a ping pong game. We're also working on volleyball with what they call one-hit volleyball. Now, America's never even seen this game. I don't even know if we have it in the UK, but we're working on that because they contacted and said, look, it's a big sport, so people are playing volleyball. It's one-hit volleyball, which basically means you don't get the opportunity to spin it, bounce it around on each side of the net. We got cricket. So all these things that we didn't have an environment for Avazoo is now being tied together in that sporting community. And when you think about it, again, a blessing. Everybody in sports, it's a risk. It's because you are wanting to win. You're competing against other people. So not word gambling, but in a way, gambling, right? Well, Avazoo, it's not gambling, but in a way it is. And people would take that swing at the bat, or whatever you want to call it, with Avazoo. Again, if I look at all the positives that have come out, the negatives, I believe we've been blessed again and again and again. And each time we do this extra buffer barrier from making sure that we're not a legal gambling entity or something is really helping out. So guys, sorry to spend this much time wasting your time, but I just thought it was really important for you guys to understand why we're not pushing Avazoo as quick. We're going to make sure you got the shares. If it's another month, if it's 3 months, all I can tell you is when we roll out, I made this commitment a couple of months ago to you guys. When we roll out, we're rolling out with a bang. We're rolling out to make this thing happen. And for those of you that have been around a long time, your blessings are to come. That's all I can tell you. So, guys, let me see if we got any questions. Sylvie, do we know if we got any questions?
Yes, we have one question.
Okay,
Do
what was that?
free entries, do free entries at Avazoo have anything to do with rewards Ripple solutions?
Yeah, so for those who are Amazon, who asked that question?
It's Andrew John.
Andrew John. I don't know your name off the bat, Andrew, so I apologize. I don't know where you're from, but welcome to Avazoo and part of the family. Good question. So what we've done is, if you're an Avazoo member, you're going to get a different ratio of points. So let's say, for example, please, this is a recorded call, so I want to put a big disclaimer out there. I'm using example numbers. These aren't the accurate numbers, but let's say you go in the Match It game, and every time you get the Match It number, you would typically get 1 point. And then if you get the combination, you would win the 100 points. Remember, these are just example numbers. If you're an Avazoo member, and you have an Avazoo ticket, instead of getting 1 point, you would get two. And instead of getting 100 points, you would get 200 points. Now, think about it logically. The first thing I want you all to think about is say, Dave, thank you for your wonderful gift. If I told you that's what I done it for, I would be lying to you. I already love you guys and care about you guys tremendously. The reason we've done it is that when somebody plays in Ripple and they say, oh, I want to get more points, okay, I got to go and buy a $20 ticket. So it's a marketing tool, marketing avenue, rather than my love to you guys, even though you know my love to you guys is there. So if you're an Avazoo member, you'll be able to go and play in some, not all of the games, and be rewarded more. Now, your entries will be your entries. However, now instead of posting the banner for the business in Avazoo, you'll be posting it out of Ripple. Once you post it out of Ripple, if that's got 10 points for the banner, now you're going to get 20 points because you're an Avazoo member. So hopefully, Andrew, I've answered that question, and I've answered it honestly that you understand why. But the answer is yes. If you're an Avazoo member, you're going to be rewarded more highly than you would if you're just somebody coming in, say, for the NFL draft. For all of you, and I know this word's going to come back and get me, but for all of you old timers, and I don't mean in age, but you guys that have been around a long time, you are being rewarded in multiple different ways that you will find out when we come out with the big bang, when we roll out. There are other options that you guys are going to benefit for your loyalty to stand with us. And we've lost a lot of people. Guys, we understand they're gone. They still got their ticket. Will they come back? Maybe. Do we hope they come back? We pray they do. But if they don't, it's not going to hurt them, and it's not going to hurt Avazoo. There'll be a new group of individuals, and as my mum said, you can make lots of different cakes. Is what you put in the ingredients what make it special. So guys, when we get these new people in, we may have people just like you are who believe in the projects and can get behind everything, and all of a sudden this thing just goes crazy. So it is what it is. It's in God's hands. It's all about his timing, and when he says yes, it will be. But guys, we're not going anywhere. We do have a few problems. We keep the CRC. We do have a new look to the CRC. That's something we're kind of very excited about. It's not finished yet, and it will not go live until we're ready to come out with a bang. So guys, if you haven't got any other questions, let me have a quick look up and down.
That's
Andrew,
all for today, Dave.
that's all we got for today.
We
Okay.
are good.
Who we got on the call here? John's here. Hey, Jennifer. Tamwai. Guys, all of you on here, I'm just having a quick look, see if there's anybody I could recognize. Guys, just thank you so much for being the way you are. Julie, all of you, Eric, everybody. Guys, you're all my blessings, and I appreciate that. And I will have you a little bit closer updates on Wednesday, because we'll know what's going on. We'll know what's going on this weekend, whether we're going to be able to get the first NFL. And guys, if we don't worry. Don't worry. If we can't get the NFL draft up and running 100%, there's a reason for it, and we'll look at the positive side of it. So don't panic. But right now we're on track. It's looking pretty good. We're doing some testing tonight, adding some questions in, have you say, and we're pretty excited. So apart from that, guys, obviously prayers out for anybody that's going through struggling times right now, no matter what it's financial or health. We're praying for all of you. Please return the prayers for Paul and any of our teams that are struggling around the world. But it does look like everything is on track. We're going to be at the NFL draft and Avazoo actually will be a sponsor there of Ripple. And then what will happen is directly after that, we are heading out to the Philippines for a month to put about 30 engineers in one room where we can operate them, and get things knocked out. So guys, thank you so much for all of your help. And, let us know what we can do. Keep people engaged, and we'll see you next Wednesday. God bless to all of you. Thank you. And I'll see you most probably on one of the calls prior. Take care. Bye-bye.